to this episode of Experts on Purpose. The special guest we have today is Neeraj Shah. Neeraj is a LinkedIn expert, digital marketing coach, and productivity enthusiast. For the last 17 years, he has been educating experts, coaches, and consultants to elevate their income, influence, and impact through business networking. He helps established consultants, coaches, and experts attract and convert $10,000 plus clients using LinkedIn in 15 minutes a day. Neeraj is the founder of Titan Masterminds. He's one of the top 20 mentors and LinkedIn faculty on the Genius U platform. He grew BNI India, a business networking group, from zero to 10,000 entrepreneurs across 28 cities in India. He helped these entrepreneurs use business networking to generate over $450 million in revenue. Hi, Neeraj. Welcome to Experts on Purpose.
Hi there, Jyotsna. It's so happy to be here with you and your amazing audience.
It's my absolute pleasure and honor to have you on my show, Neeraj, because as you know, you were the first business mentor I started working with years ago. And we've seen each other grow in the last few years, and it's such a family-like feeling that I get whenever I speak to you. So it's my honor.
Absolutely. It's always, it's funny how it all started, right? It started with that little event, you giving me your book.
Yeah.
The book on the plane and saying, wow, this is so amazing. So you didn't have to then say much. The book did the talking for you.
And so true. If actually that book has helped me in many ways, but if I have to tell the one thing that the book really did for me was in helping me get your attention, which led to so many amazing things afterwards, right? For me.
So, and I think that's the thing about a book. And I think you have put together a book which was very easy to consume, like literally on the plane, right there, and back, I was able to consume it. But it left a very positive impression upon me and made me want to reach out to you, because otherwise it's very difficult for people to stand out from the crowd.
So true. It was much more than a business card for me. And I feel getting connections like yours really helped me achieve the purpose of writing that book.
Perfect.
So Neeraj,
yes,
you have been in the business of doing so many things. You have more than 17 years of experience. But one thing that stands out in whatever you've been doing, right from the time you started BNI to the Titan Masterminds, which you're doing right now, there's this one constant underlying theme, which is networking. So you are like this master when it comes to helping people grow their business using the power of networking. So how did it all begin? And at what point did you identify that networking is your super skill?
Actually, you'll be surprised. I'm someone who's actually very shy. So I'm an introvert. So it's funny that someone who's an introvert went out and started a networking organization. But I think what happened was that it actually helped me become a better networker, because I think one of the things that you need to be a good networker is that you need, number one, I think, to have a genuine interest in people. And to be a good networker, actually, you need to listen more than to speak. So you need to know some of the right questions to ask, which will help people open up. And if you shine the light onto people and ask them to talk about good things about themselves, actually you're making it easy. And then I think you've got to listen very carefully to what they say, which then feeds off onto other questions you can ask. And that really builds an instant connection. And it's that emotional connection that really can help. So like how when we started to interact with each other, we just felt that positive connection, and the energy would go back and forth. And I think that's very important to do that. So I would say I'm an accidental networker, but I'm someone who, once I like something, I understand something, I'm very intentional about it.
Right.
And then I believe, like with any skill, it can be learned. No one ends up being a brilliant networker, a brilliant speaker, a brilliant leader, and none of those are born. Yes, I mean, there are people who have talent, but we all know of people who, despite not having had the talent, learned and really practiced and honed their skills, who were able to far outperform others out there. So I think
Right.
you've got to be quite intentional about the skill set that needs to be developed. And I think success leaves clues. So there's always tons of people who, uh, you know, do what you want to do really well, leave clues. You can read their autobiographies, or you can listen to their interviews, or read
Yeah.
reviews, or anything like that. So that you can pick up so much from that.
So were those the kind of things you invested in initially to develop this skill? Because you were not clearly, you knew that you were an introvert, right? So that was not the skill that you brought into the business when you started it, but you probably realized very quickly early on that you needed that skill to develop BNI and to grow it to the size that it is today. So that's why you had to actually invest your time and effort in developing these skills. So books, as you said, was one thing. What else did you do, Neeraj, to develop this skill?
I think you need to make a commitment. With anything, you need to make a commitment. In fact, on LinkedIn today, I just reached 10,000 followers.
I did see that. I was so happy.
So, just reached that, which is a big milestone, because I think about 18 months ago, I was at about 6,500. So it's very consistently been gone up. And I was very intentional about it, saying that, okay, I want to reach this particular milestone. I wasn't sure when I would hit it. I was intentional that I wouldn't just randomly grow.
Yeah.
And I would intentionally grow with the right people, the right network, people that I found interesting. So, I was open to that. And I think you've got to get good at being outside of your comfort zone. I had to go into rooms where I didn't know anyone. And I had
In fact, when you came to India to start BNI, you didn't know anyone, right?
I knew one person.
Okay.
I couldn't tag around with them everywhere.
Yeah.
So I had to go into plenty of rooms where I didn't know anyone, and become someone who was visible and credible. And I think that was one particular formula that really helped me, that process of understanding that you have to be visible, then you have to be credible. And what are ways in which you can be visible both online and offline? And how can you be credible? And then begin to move people along so that strangers can become acquainted with you. And not only that, they can want to become clients of yours.
Right. So after a few years, you transitioned and you created Titan Masterminds. So again, the underlying theme has been helping entrepreneurs use networking as a tool. So how is it different from what you were doing before?
Well, I think what has happened is that the world has changed dramatically. We are now in the creator economy. There's no doubt about it. And, maybe a decade ago, being a creator would have been something very new, and people would have, how can you really make money being a creator? But in this day and age, if you ask any, I don't know, 5-year-old what they want to be when they grow up, they'll say they want to be like a YouTube star or a TikTok star or something like that. So they inherently understand the creator economy. And what I understood, in the 11 years I was involved with BNI, is that you could become a personal brand in a brand new niche. And, you could really create attraction around that. And I saw that if people are going to go down this particular route of being creators,
Yeah.
um, you know, um, packaging their expertise, selling their expertise, monetizing that, building communities, then they needed help. And that's where the Titan Masterminds program came in.
Mhm.
We're looking to make people titans in their niche so that they really stand out, they get the best opportunities, they're able to charge the best rates, because it's not necessarily the volume of work, but the quality of work, the type of people that you get to work with, and the kind of results and impact that you get. So we've developed a system around that, and that's really based upon the experiences that I had.
Sure. And you actually teach the people in the mastermind a lot of different tools and strategies. But one thing that you have become known for these days is your LinkedIn approach. What you do on that platform is phenomenal. So, how did you identify LinkedIn as something that's very important for these entrepreneurs?
I think what happened was in March of 2020, when the world was going to go into lockdown and everyone had to rethink their business. I was essentially in a business which was offline. We were doing offline training and coaching.
Real
and
events.
it was very events based. And suddenly we found, I mean, I dabbled a little bit in online coaching, and I mean, our thing was
online.
Completely. But that wasn't a core part of my business.
Yeah.
So I understood that I had to pivot my business, and then I thought to myself that if people are not going to be able to connect with each other, meet each other at, say, events or in person, then virtual networking is going to be booming. And I thought of my 17 years experience, both offline and online networking. I could really put it together, and I couldn't think of a better platform than LinkedIn. And I think it was the right time at the right moment. So I decided to really focus on it from then on. And because I knew how to quickly identify key things that worked, identify the 20% that brought in 80% of the result. And because I understood networking so well, this is essentially a networking platform. So it doesn't matter whether it's virtual, but a lot of the things that I had done offline, you could utilize here. And that's what I began to do.
Right.
I joined another network as well, where I became very prominent in a short period of time, the Genius U platform. So I'm now one of the top mentors, and all of that using the same networking principles. So I found that it worked very well, and these were universal principles. That if you wanted to build a brand, these were, I identified there were 6 pillars of influence. And those are the same ones that I use on LinkedIn, and you can use them in any other social network out there as well.
Sure. I'm very curious to know, what are those 6 pillars or 6 steps?
Sure. So think of it like a hub and a spoke. Okay. So the hub, the center, is the ideal target market, the ideal client that you're trying to attract. Okay. And then around it, okay, you need to get the pitch right, because every conversation starts with the pitch. When we used to meet offline, it used to be your elevator pitch. When people ask, what do you do? So, it's your, 30 seconds of fame. You're able to grab attention in the right way, it opens up the conversation. So we help people get that pitch right. And what is become very important is that you've got to make sure it's something which is very essential. You're solving a key problem that your client has. And a nice analogy here is that, a painkiller is a very need to have, and a multivitamin is a nice to have. So don't deal in nice to haves, because these days nice to haves don't sell so much. it's essentials that really sell. So we really help people get their pitch very perfect. And that's the beginning of the
Right.
conversation. Then people are going to check out your profile. So make sure that your profile is congruent. And on LinkedIn, it makes a big difference because if you don't set up your profile in the right way, you won't get found on LinkedIn. But not only that, when people search Google, if you put in your name in Google, it's very likely that if you have a LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn profile comes up
First, even before your own website. Yes.
Yes. So, people don't understand that, we're not probably going to go down a few and look for your website. We're probably going to just click the first thing. And it's very important that we get it right. And the messaging should be congruent with whatever we say in the pitch.
Yes.
Should be aligned inside there. And, it should build credibility. It should give an idea of the kind of key services, who you help, how you help, things like that. So we help get that profile right. And the next part that you've got to do is you've got to build a list of prospects that you network with. Now, I think there are two kinds of people you should be networking with. One is the end client or future end client.
Yeah.
But the second are people who are already dealing with your end clients. Because those are potential referral partners.
Yes.
And those, I would say, might be more valuable, because one referral partner may have hundreds of your end clients. And if you begin to develop a really good, solid relationship with them, then it can be very much a win-win situation that's there. Like pretty much like how we've been working, and we constantly keep on referring, clients to each other, and it works out very well. So, people have got to build a network intentionally, proactively. And in this day and age, now LinkedIn has put a limit to the number of connection requests that you can send out every week. So you can only do about 100 every week. So you've got to know how, are these the right people? Are they active on LinkedIn?
Right.
If they're not, then, again, it'll be a wasted connection request. So you can begin to do that. And if you do that very well, then you can begin to message them and build relationships and start conversations.
So all this is a part of the prospecting step.
Yes. Right. Yes. Because prospecting is about developing relationships, getting to know a person. Who are they? What do they do? Getting the conversation going. And then when the time is right, you can position rather than just immediately say, hey, I do this. If you learn more about that person, then you can say, hey, you mentioned this, this, and this. I think this might be of interest to you, or I do this, which could be of interest to you. And then get the person's interest. So I think that is part of the prospecting.
Right.
Prospecting done right with social selling principles can help you get a lot of incoming, outbound leads because you are proactively in charge of that. And then when you do publishing, which is, it could be a publishing of book, but even before a book, I would say begin to publish your thoughts.
Yeah.
Via posts, and LinkedIn is a great place. The organic reach of LinkedIn is just incredible.
Yeah.
It far outperforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, things like that.
I totally agree with this, Neeraj, because when we talk to clients, so many of them have told us that they've been posting regularly on LinkedIn. They've developed a great audience who give them inputs and feedback, and they have requested these people to write books. So they've actually taken a compilation of all their LinkedIn posts, repurposed them, and actually created books out of that.
Yes, perfect example of my friend who I refer. I mean, he's done a brilliant job, and every day he was posting. I think he was posting nonstop for 100 days, and it was world-class content. Each post was so well thought of, so easy to consume, but you've always left with something really useful. I think that's a great way for you to begin to develop an audience. But not only that, begin to test out what your audience likes.
Right.
Because if they like that, then it will give you impetus to and confidence to write the book. And I think writing a book is just taking that to the next level. Yeah. So it's very much there. And what I find is that a post done right, like I did a post last week, which increased my profile views by 580%.
Wow.
Between two posts, I got 143,000 views. I got so many incoming connection requests. I must have had some 600-700 new followers, all because of two posts. And one was simply a story post. It was like my personal journey over the last 20 years.
Yeah, I did see that.
With my work, but that got so many reactions from right across. So that is something which is very important. It's important to know what are your key content pillars. I think in the publishing, do a mix of not just, you want to do inspirational stuff, I would say about 60%. 30% I would do as educational. And the remaining 10% you should do, which is promotional.
Right.
Fortunately, I see too many people doing, too much promotional work.
Right.
And it actually turns off the audience. It doesn't grow an audience. And despite LinkedIn being a business network, people want to know you as a person. They want to know what you stand for, your values, what do you do on your time off. There's some person, me, flexing
your muscles,
flexing muscles, after a workout. And those have got tens of thousands of views. So it's just, you'll be amazed. Someone actually told me about that routine that I was doing, and actually ended up signing up for that program. He's a complete stranger. Then after that, she reached out to me and saying, "Oh, by the way, I saw you're actually a LinkedIn expert. I need that for my work."
Wow. Amazing. So the fourth pillar is publishing, right? Doing this consistently, intentionally, using the key content pillars.
Yes. So you've got your profile right. You've got your pitch right. You've got your profile in place. You are prospecting. You are publishing consistently. Fifth is you've got to package your products right. Somewhere where a lot of people need help. And sometimes people are either selling too low value products or too high value products, or only they have a mid-level product. They maybe don't have the range. And what I would say is that you've got to have a range. Because sometimes people start at a low price product because they want to get to know you, see what value you add. Then, if you have a way to graduate them to more value for which you can charge more, then, people are happy to then take the route. And I've had a lot of people start from very low price products, but then and end up spending tens of thousands of dollars. So get the product mix right. Because if you don't have that, then inevitably you're going to end up you're going to leave money on the table.
Yeah, lots of leads, but you don't know what to do with them because you don't have the right products.
And yet they were just waiting for the right thing to come along.
Right.
The other thing is that you can, ask your audience, and, a lot of the Titan Masterminds programs have started from, surveys, which then people said, oh, they're having trouble with this. And I've identified then that, look, I can solve that really well. I really know that well. And I think that's something that, people need to be open to. Any expert, any creator, any consultant out there needs to be flexible these days. We've all had to rethink our businesses, and we're still having to rethink our businesses.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say anyone's got it 100% right, and
And you are such a classic example for that, Neeraj, because with the changing times, you quickly evolve everything, right? That's amazing.
Yeah, I think don't get too caught up with what used to be. Be aware of how things are changing and what the trends are, and then ask yourself, what strengths do you have that you bring to those trends? What knowledge, what experience do you have? What networks do you have that can somehow add more value to where people want to go or what is gaining traction? I think that flexibility is very important.
Sure.
And then I would say the last thing, the last lever of influence is you've got to develop some profit pathways. So, how is it that you're able to turn these strangers, generate leads from them, convert them into a client, and then value maximize, that journey, and enjoy the journey, and then see if there's some automation that can be done. Typically, what I'm going to say to people is that don't rely on any one platform, because something or the other can change. So if you're reliant on one, then if one suddenly bombs or something changes or whatever, then you're scrambling. Whereas if you have about 5 different things, then you're not reliant upon one. And if one doesn't perform as well, you've still got the other 4.
Is that also why you diversified into creating courses on Genius U?
Yes, because what I wanted was I wanted some content which was ready to go. I didn't want to end up repeating myself. One of the ways in which I thought, okay, how can I systemize my one-to-one coaching? I said, regurgitating things is a bad use of my time.
Yeah.
Every customer has to go through that initial learning, but I don't need to give it to them in a one-to-one context.
Yes.
So I said that, if I can have the course ready there and give them access to that, then I'm able to say, look, I want you to listen to this. But where people in the product mix, you can have a DIY, which is a do-it-yourself. Might be the lowest value product. Then you might have a done with you product. So that might be a mid-level where you're coaching them, and that's where the implementation is more important. And in this day and age, we moved away from the information age. Information is available anywhere and everywhere for free.
For free, yeah.
What people want help in, and they will continue to be your client, is if you can help them execute. I mean, literally, in the afternoon, I had a client who I had to say that, look, until you finish your homework, I'm not going to even talk about the next level program. And she's talking to me saying, no, I want to sign up for your next level program. I said, no, you have to finish this particular program, because I'm one of those coaches who make sure you finish everything, because I know if you finish it, then you'll get the result.
Exactly.
I mean, the problem is she's managed to get some of the results in advance. She's done very well, but I know that if she has this in place, then her results will be even more stupendous. Right. So, that's helped me there. And then there's there's a level of, I think, done for you as well. So, this is where you can then have a team that you can outsource to, or there's software, there's AI these days, there's so many. So I've ended up working with some people who've developed a software program, so that I'm able to then take someone's intellectual property, feed it into the software, and automatically begins to create the content, email sequences, lead magnets,
Wow.
landing page copies, things like that. So when we're putting together the product mixes, then we can say, okay, it's this particular product, and now let's put together a complete sequence. So with this legal firm, they'd identified 6 verticals, and we've created content for each of those 6 verticals, right from a lead magnet, a landing page, email, a follow-up copy, which is very custom made. So then what happens is if someone was interested in that, then they get content very related to that. And we're able to then do it much quicker than ever before. So having these sorts of things can really help people, because people don't have time to do this. But this is a great way in which software know-how and the right person you can end up helping you.
Right. I really love the way you've created a structure for this, with all the steps starting with a P. I mean, it's really easy to remember.
Yeah, but 6 P's.
Yeah, exactly.
and in the center, you've got the perfect prospect.
Perfect prospect, right? Amazing.
And then I think in the outer wheel, it's actually partnerships, because if you want to really go to the next level,
you need the partnerships.
Yeah,
right?
You need the partnerships.
So one thing you teach, Neeraj, is you help your clients achieve $10,000 plus clients using LinkedIn by just investing 15 minutes a day. But all this looks like a lot of work when you hear it for the first time. So what should one do on a daily basis in order to make this system work for them?
I think there are very few things that you can end up doing. First, identify who are the people that you want to network with. Okay. So I would say stalk them first, see that they're active on LinkedIn, begin to like and comment on their posts, see who they are liking and commenting. That might help you discover some new cool people, new cool companies that you don't know about. Okay. So I use my network to help me discover new networks and new interesting people out there. I study people's profiles, see things that I can see are commonalities, similarities, or things that I can pay a compliment about. Then I send connection requests, and I would say I'd send 20 every day. Okay, so it's very easy to do. It's not going to take. There's some simple kind of canned responses that I have for those. So those don't end up then taking too much time. I end up liking or commenting on about 20, and then I only post 3 times a week.
Right.
So either I decide Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or alternate weeks I'll do Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Right.
So these are 2 different ones, and I tend to plan those out at least 2 to 4 weeks ahead. So then what happens is I'm not rushing for content. Everything is ready, and I can spend more time interacting with people, commenting on their posts, seeing what's interesting out there. And by that time, you can send a recommendation, you can give an endorsement, all of those sorts of things. So before you know it, it's done. And you could actually split it up if you wanted to. Like I do 15 minutes, between 8:55 and 9:10, because 9:10, to 10:30, I do my focus work. And then again, I check in again at 12:30 to 12:45, and then I'll have lunch. And then, at the end of the day, between 5:30 and 5:45. So now, I end up spending about 15. So it's about 45 minutes, but you could easily just spend 15. Just spend 15 minutes and do those things that I've told you. And if you do a little every day, then it's not much to do. It becomes like brushing.
Exactly. I think one big takeaway for me is to schedule this time on your calendar, just like how you would schedule your meetings and other things, so that you start doing this because your calendar asks you to do initially, and then it becomes like a ritual and you will not forget it.
Yes, yes. And once it's become a ritual, then really enjoy the journey. Because that's what's going to keep you there. The good thing about, if you've got a good network in place, then what happens is that when you're having a bad day, you need the network. And when you're having a good day, the network needs you.
Such a nice way to look at it. Yeah.
So it works out either way.
Great, Neeraj. This has been such a wonderful conversation. What would be your one piece of advice to all those entrepreneurs out there who have this unique genius within them, but they're not really owning it and they're not really scaling it into a successful business? What would you tell them if something is stopping them?
I think understand who the prospect is, identify the most compelling problem, develop a solution, a promise for that. So the product or the service that you have would solve their problem, and that's where the pitch will start. And that's the really strong part. And then thereafter, I think it is consistently positioning your brand, being intentional about building this personal brand. Because if I were to, think of Jyotsna, every time I think of publishing a book, the first person I think of is you.
Thanks, Neeraj.
So it has to be like that. Whatever is the problem that you solve, people, your prospects must think of you first. And that's not going to happen if you've not positioned your brand and you've not been intentional about your brand. I think with content, there's a great phrase which is there, which I didn't come up with. A friend came up with. He's called the LinkedIn Guru. Jeff is his name, and he says that content is king, context is King Kong, and consistency is the mother of King Kong. So you could actually use that for brand building as well. Just think of, instead of content, the brand building. If the brand is king, then the context. Who do you solve the problem for? Who's your audience? I think that's where you derive the context, and then you've just got to be consistent, because people don't like inconsistency. Yeah. Inconsistencies, which it's the thing that causes distrust. And anytime it causes distrust, you lose the sale. They will pick someone else rather than you.
So true. Very well said, Neeraj. I would highly encourage the listeners, the viewers, to check out Neeraj's LinkedIn profile, not just to connect with him, but also to learn how to set up a fantastic profile. And I recently saw your photograph turning into a video talking about who you are and what you do, and that was really amazing. That's going to be my immediate action step after this interview.
Yes, that's a LinkedIn cover story. It's one of the new functionalities, so definitely you need to be using it. And if you need any help with it, I've done a couple of posts on what to say and how to say it with some examples. So just look me up on LinkedIn. Neeraj Shah, that's Neeraj Shah. So that's the URL.
Sure. I'll have the link right below in the show notes. Where else can people find you other than LinkedIn?
I have a website, neerajshah.me. So there we have quite a few blog posts and videos and things like that. And I have a Facebook group where I do very regular trainings and updates. So that's a great community, and we all come together to help each other. So if you are an expert, a consultant, or someone who's looking to get into this particular space, then you're almost welcome. It's called the Winning LinkedIn Facebook group.
Sure. Thanks for sharing that, Neeraj, and thank you once again for coming on Experts on Purpose.
Thank you so much. It's been great. It's been a hoot.